Chapter 2. Is the Old Testament inspired? If it is, it should be a book that no man, no number of men could produce. It should contain the perfection of philosophy. It should perfectly accord with every fact in nature. There should be no mistakes in astronomy, geology, or as to any subject or science. Its morality should be the highest, the purest. Its laws and regulations for the control of conduct should be just, wise, perfect, and perfectly adapted to the accomplishment of the ends desired. It should contain nothing calculated to make man cruel, revengeful, vindictive, or infamous. It should be filled with intelligence, justice, purity, honesty, mercy, and the spirit of liberty. It should be opposed to strife and war, to slavery and lust, to ignorance, credulity, and superstition. It should develop the brain and civilize the heart. It should satisfy the heart and brain of the best and wisest. It should be true. Does the Old Testament satisfy their standard? Is there anything in the Old Testament, in history, in theory, in law, in government, in morality, in science, above and beyond the ideas, the beliefs, the customs and prejudices of its authors and the people among whom they lived? Is there one ray of light from any supernatural source? The ancient Hebrews believed that this earth was the center of the universe, and that the sun, moon, and stars were specks in the sky. With this the Bible agrees. They thought the earth was flat, with four corners, that the sky, the firmament, was solid, the floor of Jehovah's house. The Bible teaches the same. They imagined that the sun journeyed about the earth, and that by stopping the sun, the day could be lengthened. The Bible agrees with this. They believed that Adam and Eve were the first man and woman, that they had been created but a few years before, and that they, the Hebrews, were their direct descendants. This the Bible teaches. If anything is or can be certain, the writers of the Bible were mistaken about creation, astronomy, geology, about the causes of phenomena, the origin of evil, and the cause of death. Now it must be admitted that if an infinite being is the author of the Bible, he knew all the sciences, all facts, and could not have made a mistake. If, then, there are mistakes, misconceptions, false theories, ignorant myths, and blunders in the Bible, it must have been written by finite beings, that is to say, by ignorant and mistaken men. Nothing can be clearer than this. For centuries the Church insisted that the Bible was absolutely true, that it contained no mistakes, that the story of creation was true, that its astronomy and geology were in accord with the facts, that the scientists who differed with the Old Testament were infidels and atheists. Now this has changed. The educated Christians admit that the writers of the Bible were not inspired as to any science. They now say that God, or Jehovah, did not inspire the writers of this book for the purpose of instructing the world about astronomy, geology, or any science. They now admit that the inspired men who wrote the Old Testament knew nothing about any science, and that they wrote about the earth and the stars, the sun and moon, in accordance with the general ignorance of the time. It required many centuries to force the theologians to this submission. Reluctantly, full of malice and hatred, the priests retired from the field, leaving the victory with science. They took another position. They declared that the authors, or rather the writers of the Bible, were inspired in spiritual and moral things, that Jehovah wanted to make known to his children his will, his infinite love for his children, that Jehovah, seeing his people wicked, ignorant, and depraved, wished to make them merciful and just, wise and spiritual, and that the Bible is inspired in its laws, in the religion it teaches, and in its ideas of government. This is the issue now. Is the Bible any nearer right in its ideas of justice, of mercy, of morality, or of the religion than in its conception of the sciences? Is it moral? It upholds slavery. It sanctions polygamy. Could a devil have done worse? Is it merciful? In war it raised the black flag. It commanded the destruction, the massacre of all, of the old, infirm, and helpless, of wives and babes. Were its laws inspired? Hundreds of offenses were punished with death. To pick up sticks on Sunday, to murder your father on Monday were equal crimes. There is in the literature of the world no bloodier code. The law of revenge, of retaliation, was the law of Jehovah. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a limb for a limb. This is savagery, not philosophy. Is it just and reasonable? The Bible is opposed to religious toleration, to religious liberty. Whoever differed with the majority was stoned to death. Investigation was a crime. Husbands were ordered to denounce and to assist in killing their unbelieving wives. It is the enemy of art. Thou shalt make no graven image. This was the death of art. Palestine never produced a painter or a sculptor. Is the Bible civilized? It upholds lying, larceny, robbery, murder, the selling of diseased meat to strangers, and even the sacrifice of human beings to Jehovah. Is it philosophical? It teaches that the sins of a people can be transferred to an animal, to a goat. It makes maternity an offense for which a sin offering had to be made. It was wicked to give birth to a boy, and twice as wicked to give birth to a girl. To make hair oil like that used by the priest was an offense punishable with death. The blood of a bird killed over running water was regarded as medicine. Would a civilized God daub his altars with the blood of oxen, lambs, and doves? Would he make all his priests butchers? Would he delight in the smell of burning flesh?